So just quickly, many of you know, if you got this email, SEL4NJ is the state affiliate of SEL4US. We're very proud to be one of the founding members of SEL4US, and SEL4US is growing. We also, as you know, we want to build awareness. We want to have all the great work you're doing become more visible and amplify the great work. We're all about building connections in community, as well as just helping you all just do what you're doing better, to see whether we can support you in many different ways. So that's what SEL4NJ is. So now what we're hoping to do, we know that, it's wonderful so many of you RSVP'd for this brainstorming session, but we want to make sure that we get to any specific questions you might have. So if you do have some specific questions or ideas, please feel free to share them in the chat. And likewise, as people are talking and sharing, please feel free to, raise your hand on the Zoom, the little Zoom thing, or enter questions into the chat, or in breakouts we'll have an opportunity to speak in more detail as well. So we're going to launch a poll, because I think I'm just going to check to see how many people are here. Yeah, we're going to do a poll. If sometimes, if there's less than 15 people or so, it's nice to have people introduce themselves individually, but we probably don't have time for that. So we're going to launch a poll to hopefully get to know you just a teensy bit better. So if everyone could participate in this poll, that would be wonderful. So I'm going to launch this. And can people see this poll? Yes, because somebody's responding, so that's fabulous. This always looks like the horse races. I don't know whether you can see the results coming in or not, but I can at my end. It's really interesting. So it's looking like we're about evenly split between those people who participated in SEL Day and where this is their first time. And it looks like we have a nice representation of elementary and middle and some high schoolers. That's fabulous. And also a nice range of participants, teachers, building leadership, counselors. I should have put other. So that's great. And here come some more people responding. That's wonderful. Okay, so some of you people who have participated in SEL Day in the past, when we get to the discussion section, it'd be great to hear from you as to ideas that worked well, and some of those that might have been more challenging, and where you're headed this year. So thank you, everyone. I'll end the poll. And I'll share the results in case you couldn't see that. So can you see the poll now? The results? Great. And if you're curious, you scroll down yourself to see the results to question 3. So there we go. Great. Thank you, everyone. And we're also going to encourage everyone to, just so that we know who's elementary, middle school, and high school, because when we go into breakouts, that might be that would be really helpful for us to know. So if you would mind renaming yourself, and those of you are probably familiar on Zoom, you just click on the little 3 dots next to your name and click on rename. And if you're elementary, if you could put an E before your name, middle school and MS, and a high school and HS. And those SEL4 New Jersey people, maybe we could put SEL4NJ next to our names, or in the front of our names. Great, thank you, everyone. Fabulous. Okay, so what is SEL Day? Those of you who participated in the past, kind of know what SEL Day is, I'm sure. But what's extraordinary about SEL Day is this is a very new idea that was launched just 3 years ago by David Adams from the Urban Assembly and SEL4US. And it has gone absolutely viral in an incredibly grassroots sort of way. And SEL Day is lived and breathed and brought alive by each person who participates, but overall, the big idea is to celebrate all those wonderful things we attach to social and emotional learning: kindness, gratitude, empathy, all of those, and more, and much more. But it's an idea to celebrate and to flood the world, literally the world, with all these positive illustrations of how people are living kindness and gratitude, etc. It has been a tremendous success. And you know, the big idea again is to share this via social media, and just to get SEL Day, the hashtag SEL Day trending. And it's amazing, you know, whether it's, you know, Twitter just reaches far and wide globally, you know, it's turning up in people's feeds everywhere. And it has been an amazing success. Last year, for instance, we had 12 million views for SEL Day. And again, this is a very organic effort. Um, it was actually hashtag SEL Day was trending globally for 2 hours. I think it was early afternoon Eastern time last year. So it is really, really extraordinary. And when you think of what is being shared, but things are just people, the loveliest, warmest, most wonderful messages and examples of people just thinking of others. So what's exciting about this as well is that it's not just sharing artifacts, but also it's raising awareness about the importance of this work. So in New Jersey, last year, the State Board of Ed and the governor proclaimed SEL Day, which is great. And this year they have as well. So we just received news of that today. What we're very, very proud of is that New Jersey has really led the way. This is the top 10 public profiles last year, the New Jersey DOE, and SEL4NJ were in the leaderboard, as well as many other individual schools as well. That's kind of on a different list down the way. So, you know, we're really proud of New Jersey. People all over the world have been inspired by what New Jersey has been doing. So congratulations to all of you who participated in the past. And really importantly, you know, it's just wonderful. So many people who haven't celebrated SEL Day are joining us today. So we know it has been quite a year, couple of years. And so we know that some previously schools might have had a whole lot of time to plan for SEL Day. And this year things have just gotten a bit overwhelming. So one of the reasons we got together today, we thought this would be helpful, is that SEL Day is 1 week away, and a day-ish. So we thought this would be helpful to just brainstorm ideas, as well as provide an opportunity for you to just to flesh out your own ideas a bit, as well. We know it's tough to carve out time. And, you know, hopefully this will allow you a little bit of time to think this through. And we're really, really very grateful that both Emily, our social media intern, and Jennifer have been working for the entire year on supporting schools and generating SEL ideas. And we've had 2 articles published in the NJEA review about SEL Day. So there's lots of resources out there that we'll be sharing as well. So hopefully we'll be able to help you out and get you going to have a really successful SEL Day and just spread love and kindness throughout your school community next Friday. So I'm going to turn it over to Jennifer now. And Jennifer and Emily are just going to share a few specific examples of what some schools have done or some good ideas for lesson plans, just to get your juices, you know, kind of flowing before we discuss, you know, what you guys are up to specifically as well, and answer any questions and help you brainstorm ideas. So I'm going to turn it over to Jennifer now, if you want to walk us through this.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Okay, so this past year, I had the pleasure of working with Dr. Elias, and we had the opportunity to interview different educators from New Jersey to learn about how they celebrated SEL Day. So for this particular lesson, I had the pleasure of talking to Miss Carrie Sullivan from Bridgeton Township for the article. and she basically discussed different ways that the school can employ SEL in the arts. So I wanted to share her music playlist lesson to you guys. So a really creative way to bring music into the classroom is by having students create their own musical playlists. And creating unique playlists can really encourage the students to think about how certain music makes them feel and to really broaden their understanding of their emotions. So, for example, I created this playlist for SEL4 New Jersey. It's just like a happy playlist, but you can have your students create different playlists for to boost their mood, to distress, or just to cheer someone up. So that's for that lesson plan. Liz, you could go to the next slide. And so for this lesson plan, I got to interview Miss Jennifer Angerson from McKay Elementary, and she was telling me about the Peace Builders group and at the school. So basically, the fifth graders for this, they came all together to create like a list of positive affirmations, so like quotes and phrases. And on SEL Day, the students got to go outside and write positive messages on the sidewalks, the perimeter of the school. They also wrote it on the rocks. And another idea for you guys could have your students write the positive messages on sticky notes and have them place them all throughout the hallway. I think this is just a really great way for you to spread positivity in the classroom. And it's also very meaningful for the students and teachers to be reminded of these positive affirmations when they walk to school. And, you know, seeing those messages can really make someone's day.
All right, thank you, Jennifer. Hello, everyone, I'm Emily. So for this first idea I came up with, it is a compliment scrapbook. And the idea behind this is giving and accepting compliments helps to build empathy. And it also helps to build a positive class environment and shows your students that everyone cares for one another. So for this, you can have your student, you can create a packet for each student and then have them pass their packets like clockwise, so like the person sitting next to them. And then instruct your students to write a compliment for whoever's book they were passed. Then give your students a minute or two and then have them pass the book on to the next person and just keep passing the books around until everyone in the class has a compliment for each student. And then at the end, your students will have like a scrapbook full of compliments from everyone in the class that they can look back on if they're like ever feeling down. And I also encourage you to take part in this exercise as well. Your students would love to hear from you. And then the next one I came up with is an emotions color wheel. So this gets your students thinking about how certain emotions make them feel and helps them get more in touch with their emotions. So for this, you can create a color wheel for your students by splitting a circle in 8 sections or more. There's also printable templates online that you can use to make your life a lot easier. And so with each section, dedicate it to a different emotion. And then instruct your students to draw a picture in each section that they feel represents that emotion. And then encourage them to use colors that they believe describes the emotion as well. These drawings, they don't need to be realistic. Abstract art and color is a great way to convey different emotions. And then also I suggest that you should instruct your students to share and explain their wheels. This conveys that we can all experience emotions differently from one another, or they may find a way to relate to one another through these explanations of their color wheels. All right, thank you.
Liz, you're muted.
Liz, you're muted.
It's an official Zoom meeting. I was muted. So thank you, everyone. So thank you, Jennifer and Emily, for just sharing some general ideas. We have seen schools devote an entire week to SEL activities with assemblies and speakers and every grade doing different activities. We do realize that we're a week out, so some of those bigger efforts might be a little hard to get together in such a short time period. But in all of these areas that are listed on the screen, there's so many different opportunities for schools to really celebrate what's already happening. The Arts Ed Foundation of New Jersey has has done a wonderful job of incorporating SEL and the arts. So if any of you are just interested anyway, really encourage you to take a look at their website. But in addition, whether it's, as Jennifer mentioned, putting together a music playlist, all the different grade levels can do that, and whether it's for, whether it's for, being cheerful or being contemplative or being energized, it's really a wonderful way of doing things. Of course, drawing on the chalkboard, on Post-it notes, there's so much to be done. And in addition, there's poetry, there's writing, talking about emotions, how you feel. You're all professionals, you're all the teachers and the educators. You probably have lots of ideas on how to incorporate this into your normal lessons. But we would just like to really underscore the fact that you're probably doing activities already that can be SEL Day celebrations and SEL Day artifacts. So some of this, you don't have to overthink this. If you do have some really complex, kind of really interesting efforts that you're doing, we'd love to hear about them, but also just kind of look around your school, and there's probably symbols of love and gratitude and kindness already there that you can amplify and visible and share with your school community. Sometimes those things that we do every day just kind of need to be made more visible, and this is an opportunity to do that. But with that said, would anyone like to ask any questions or kind of share some of the projects you're already working on? So please feel free to unmute if you would like. If people are ready to, what we could do, please feel free. Yes, the presentation will be shared with you for sure. Definitely, and it'll be interesting to hear what some of your ideas are. So maybe we should go into breakout rooms, and what we're going to try to do is to break you up by school level, because we thought that might be easier. And here are some thought questions to start you out with. Do any of the ideas resonated with you? Talk within your group on any ideas on how you could adapt them for your class or your school. Any new ideas that came up, any challenges that you'd like to brainstorm with the others in your breakout around, kind of just a chance for you to kind of talk with your group. So I am going to set up the breakout rooms now. And sorry, just give me 1 minute. Oops, sorry everyone. So some of you should be on your way. I'm just going to stop my screen sharing. Okay, you know what, guys? We have one room in session, I believe. Sorry, something very funky is happening here. So in any case, I think what we are going to do, there should be one breakout room in progress, which is great. And I think the rest of us, if we could just carry on here, because I think it's just kind of a waste of everyone's time trying to work out the breakout rooms. So with that said, for the questions, so did any of those ideas resonate with you, or any of you already have SEL Day plans in place? If you'd just like to unmute, that would be great.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Hi.
So I'm with the East Orange School District. I'm a school social worker. My school is elementary and middle. So my department actually required that everyone submit what they're doing for SEL Day. So we did have to come up with some ideas. I do love the scrapbook idea that was shared. What I asked my teachers to do is I assign a competency to grade levels, and we're in a new building. So we have like a lot of blank wall space. So I asked the teachers to have the students be very creative with the wall space that I assign to them, they have to highlight what competency they've been assigned, give some details on what that competency is all about, and just have an activity that is composed of like student work that they can display that aligns with that competency. So we'll have areas throughout the building where you'll have each competency, and then whatever they come up with to put outside on the wall will be displayed there. And we have a big wall where we had a mural, the art teacher for her art classes that day, whatever work they do. I like that, the split circle, the color wheel. So I'm gonna recommend that to her. So they have like a big wall to do like a mural for SEL Day.
That's
And then I have like a student group that I work with. I asked the media specialist to pull some SEL books so that my kids in my student group can go to the younger grades and read those books to them that day. So to kind of like be student-led lessons. And I think that's, phys ed. I asked the gym teacher to come up with some team building activities. I did see an idea online where they said we can have the students like create goals ahead of time, and then the gym teacher can create like an obstacle course. So you actually have the students running towards their goals, like completing the obstacle course. So I gave him all of that. So hopefully, he can implement that for that day. And that's it. So I was just.
That's it. That sounds like a lot. That's wonderful. Oh, I want to be hanging out at your school.
Thank you.
I hope you take lots of photos and things like that, because all of those things, I think people are going to have a ball just doing it, right? So
Yes,
being able to share that energy would be great.
Yes.
Oh, that's wonderful. Does anybody else have some plans already, or any ideas you've gotten? Yeah, Tina?
One thing that we're doing is, just like Lita said about partnering up, we found a positivity game that has questions like, what's your favorite sport? It's really cute. It looks like Chutes and Ladders. And I just got it, I think on Teachers Pay Teachers maybe. And they're going to team up with the younger, like the fourth, we're a K to pre to four school. So the fourth grade and the preschoolers are going to team up and they're going to play the game together. And so we're doing that. And then we have 3 elementary schools. So we're doing a read aloud on Zoom for the first time between all 3 elementary schools. And we're just going to read the book, The Little Spot of Peace, I think we picked, because it has some strategies for calming, take 5 breathing with, when you use your hand and breathe. So there were just some cute little strategies. We're going to do that with them. And also, oh, I know. We created a video with our tech people for each school. I'm actually the SEL coach, which is a new position for me from elementary all the way to high school. So
Wow.
within each school, elementary, we picked the fourth graders and then eighth graders in the middle and then seniors in the high school. And they made a little mindful moment video. We're going to kick it off on SEL Day where they're doing 3 collective breaths together and coming up with their power words. What word would you put after I am? I am strong. I am smart. I am enough. And teaching them that. And then we're going to kick that off on SEL Day and then play it maybe for the whole following week so they get in the habit of it. And every morning, our district's going to hopefully have this mindful moment movement start. So that was something new we're doing.
Oh, wow. That's really cool. I love it too, that it's not a one-off, that you're launching something that you hope to continue on. That's really exciting. And I bet that video of the big kids, little kids and the medium kids, that's.
Yeah, well, each video we made, I guess 3 elementaries, we made 5 videos altogether. So each elementary school, we picked 2 like leaders. The teachers helped with that. And then so there's 5 different videos. So each school is playing their one video. You know what I mean? So yeah, but you can do it any way you want.
Yeah. Oh, that's fabulous. Oh, here we have someone in the chat. Sorry, can't unmute. Small kids. Oh, we know. But we do a mix it up day where students who want to meet new people come into a specific area and play games. We also do the motivational messages to each student in their lockers for teachers too. Oh, that's great. I love that opportunity, the invitation to meet new people, right? Because sometimes it's, when you're in your normal structured day, it's hard to get out of your box. I hope staff do that as well. Go talk to someone they've never talked to. So that's really a cool idea. Thank you, Paige. Anybody else would like to share what they're thinking about doing? Or if anyone has any questions or wants some advice on how to get organized. Yeah, Tina?
Liz, I'm sorry. I just wanted to share this. We did this, I guess it was Kindness Week. We made a kindness cart and had the leaders, the 4th graders roll it around to the teachers. And it was like granola bars and seltzer and a bunch of different little treats for the teachers. So we were thinking about doing something similar to that on SEL Day. Maybe not with the cart this time since we already did that, but just setting it up in the teacher's room like a wellness bar where there's healthy snacks and things that would make teachers, everybody loves to eat. So, but it would be
Love
more
that idea.
on a healthy side.
Question about that sort of thing. Where did you get funding for that? Because there was a school last year we have another attendee. That's cute. Another school last year did a great like wellness, sort of activity for staff as well. But yeah, is it PTA money or is it
PTA? Yeah, we just kind of contacted the PTA, said we're interested, and they just sent things in, and whatever we got, we used. And they were great. They were very generous.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a great resource for people is the PTA. So anyone would like to go next and kind of share what their thoughts are?
I can offer something from the administrative perspective. So I have a co-supervisor and together we supervise nurses, counselors, and HPE teachers. And a lot of what we did last year fell into our HPE realm. We had some luck at the elementary school we used our health and phys ed teachers who would take kids out on a sensory walk. And so they had a little bit of a checklist, what do you hear? What do you smell? What do you see? It was just a time to sort of center the kids. And that was a very popular thing. The kids really loved that. Some of that was actually done in our middle school too. Our middle school teachers actually had, in the phys ed classes, had different zones that kids could choose to go to. They could go on sort of a sensory walk outside. They had yoga and some stretching and some breathing going in another corner. They had some, sort of positive messaging going on, a little written activity in another corner. So they did a lot with choice, and the kids chose what they would do. And that was pretty well received as well.
That student voice thing is really important. It's lovely to see that incorporated into this. That's great. And getting outside is always such a fun idea. Anybody else? anyone who doesn't have an idea and is wondering how to get started, and if you've got it, if any of these ideas are helping you think it through.
Liz, we have our idea.
Mhm.
Sorry, I'll turn my camera on. I'm packing for our weekend.
Oh.
We are planning to do another kickoff, like someone else had shared. We're gonna have a mindfulness practice SEL-based SEL day in my SEL classes, as well as the counselors push in. But we're going to kick off what's called March Mindfulness instead of March Madness, and we're going to have like a bracket where the kids vote for their favorite like mindfulness technique that they try, and like see which one wins in each class. So, and we're at elementary and middle school, so we're hoping we'll do that in elementary, but we're hoping the middle school to get them on board with a mindful moment in the morning. I really liked what someone shared about the videos that made by children. That sounds great. I'd love to get that for next year. We're not making that happen next week, but great ideas shared today. So thank you, everyone.
That's wonderful. Thank you. What we heard during the, when the pandemic first started, that was the very first SEL day, was March 2020. I thought a lot of, schools just, pivoted right away and just started showing support and kindness and, just love for their school community. And we had some schools for SEL day where the teachers went and drove past students' homes on the elementary level. There were messages written on, even though the schools were closed by then. Messages were written the parents organized it actually, and wrote messages of support for the teachers on the school parking lot, and took photographs of those to share for, the parents did that for the staff, but it could be for anybody, and those sorts of things. And it's interesting that 2 years on, I don't think that need for kindness and love and compassion has gone away at all. So sometimes just writing some messages, with chalk outside, getting the kids outside, getting the staff outside, and just writing some nice things on the sidewalk, if, can really do the trick as well. It's just fun. It changes it up. It just ups the, just makes everyone feel good. So sometimes it can be real simple. But and other times, wow, we've seen some really extraordinarily complex things, which is really great. So anybody else like to share?
Yeah, quick. My name is Serby. I'm from the Franklin Township School District in Somerset. Really excited to be here with everyone because I was definitely looking for ideas. So in a middle school, what I do notice as a school counselor is that kids love to give other kids advice. Like, I want to let me help you with your problems. And then they'll say, I think I want to be a therapist one day. Like, I think I have all the answers. It's really adorable. So one of the teachers was thinking of perhaps coming up with some scenarios, but also if students would like to share anonymous scenarios, like maybe there's something that they are looking for advice on, but they don't want to really put their name on it, they could put it in a hat or something, and it can be mixed up with the scenarios that were already given. And then it kind of facilitates a discussion. So I don't know if this is more like with 8th graders, or it could be with 6th, 7th, and 8th, but I didn't know if I was kind of, if kids are gonna hopefully not go off on a tangent. Do you think that that's okay to do something like that? Just wanted to know your ideas, especially my middle school people here. Not a good idea. Okay, got it. I don't know how to take that. So I don't know if that's something that I should push forward with, or kind of be like, no, let's not do something like that.
Anybody have any advice?
I know, my name is Brittany. I did something similar to that, but with a restorative question, I did like a restorative circle, and they wrote questions that they had or advice that they wanted, and we picked out of a hat. And if the kids didn't have advice to offer, then the teacher would share. But we did it in like a restorative circle kind of thing, where all the kids were sitting down in a circle. Before they got to the circle, they wrote down stuff that they needed advice with, or something that they were concerned about, and then we met in a circle and we discussed it that way. So I don't know if that can help you a little bit.
Yeah, I just hope that any scenarios that are given, that they're appropriate, right? Like, sometimes middle schoolers like to be goofy. So it's like, is it too many variables involved? Or should I just stick to, give like a list of 20 different scenarios that are like, kosher? And I can be like, okay, this is what we're talking about.
Yes, I would definitely probably do the 20 questions to just guide them so that it's not inappropriate, and try to pick the 20 questions that you notice is going on in the school and that you see them having challenges with, and add it like that, because that'll alleviate, the inappropriate questions.
Yeah. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Very helpful. Thank you. Thanks, Brittany.
We also had some in the comments saying another idea is that the kids can contribute and you can filter and then, create your own 20 and see whether there's some overlap as
True.
well. That could be kind of incorporating their voice, but at the same time, keeping it structured.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Anybody else have any other questions? That was great. It was great, the contributions too.
I just had a question about incorporating like great SEL activities with students who experience behavior challenges, like oppositional and aggressive behaviors. Like, what great activities can be utilized to support those kind of students? And I did like the gym lesson because that does keep them active. So I'm leaning towards that one, how she shared about doing a goal and have them running and doing an obstacle course towards that. So I'm leaning kind of towards that one. But if anyone has any other ideas of great SEL activities to incorporate with students who experience behavior challenges.
Yeah, does anyone have any ideas on that one? I think sometimes, I keep on going back to this like drawing kind of place, is that sometimes just having them reflect a little bit and think about, having them do, just kind of creatively, in terms of art or something like that, create something that they can then, share with others.
Okay, thank you.
But does anybody else, but I'm not the expert here. Does anyone else have any ideas about, kind of that? I think that the goal, the running towards the goal is fabulous. Okay, if we hear of any, we'll let you know for sure, because we're always, ideas are always running past us. I think that's a really good question.
Liz, I think for students that are struggling behaviorally, I think talking about things that we can control versus not, and kind of where perhaps anger might come in the picture, or just frustration or just sadness when we can't control certain things. So really trying to find one of the root causes as to maybe why the behaviors are the way that they are. And so, but at the same time, we don't want to make it a therapeutic session either. So it's a very fine line that we're trailing. So I think doing something like the emotion color wheel that was discussed earlier, and then incorporating art with that, so you're kind of identifying and becoming a bit more self-aware as to where that emotion is coming from.
Great.
I like that. Thank you.
We've also started, and I know we're not the only ones, but that have started calming corners in each room in the elementary level. And as an SEL coach, I've been going in and teaching the students different techniques, like breathing techniques. And one that they really enjoy is just rainbow breathing, because they love to color and they love the colors of the rainbow. So I give them a blank rainbow and we draw a flower under the left side of the rainbow because you smell the flower. And then a candle at the top of the rainbow because you blow out the candle and then come down and there's a heart on the other side. So it's kinesthetic too, where they're touching the rainbow, and after they color it, we talk about the colors, like visualizing red. How does that make you feel? Taking a deep breath in. And then after we do the rainbow breathing, we put it in the calming corner, like a little poster there and like little samples for the students. And then we did, take 5 breathing with the hands. So they always have their hand with them, but all the different little techniques that we've been teaching, we put in that calming corner so they know how to use them. And anytime they need a little brain break, they can go into the corner and use those strategies.
Thank you. Yes, my kids love the hand breathing. We call that roller coaster breathing because, on a roller coaster, you go up and down. So they know when you go up, you breathe in. When you go down, you breathe out. So we do utilize that one all of the time.
That's a cute name. I like that.
Yeah. I love rainbow breathing, roller coaster breathing. Oh, great stuff.
I discovered something new today. I'm an RJP coordinator, and I was in circle with my students, and we were going to play hot potato. And they decided, instead of tossing a stuffed animal, that we were going to dance. And as we were dancing, when the stops came, we would dance in certain moves. Like they'd say, dance like you're confident, or dance like you just won $1 million, or dance like you're really happy. So every time there was a stop, the movement changed, and that helped to soothe us all.
Oh, that sounds like so much fun.
And the children
really
created it. And they created it. I kind of just listened and learned what they needed and wanted and just adjusted in the moment.
Wow, that's so cool. And it's so neat. Like when you give kids a space, they just come up with the best ideas, isn't it? And I mean, I can imagine that, being at a meeting with a bunch of adults doing that, it would be great. That would be a wonderful SEL Day activity, just to film that, and that would be so cool. That's a great idea. Thank you for sharing that. Does anyone else have any things they'd like to share? It's a wonderful conversation. Okay, what I can do is I can I'll go back to sharing my screen, and there's just a few last minute things we just wanted to share with you about kind of what to do next and that sort of thing. So yeah, thank you so much for all those ideas and great, great comments. So resources. So if you haven't yet, it's really helpful to go to the selday.org website. It's full of just so much information and help and ideas and resources. And also the NJEA article that I just mentioned previously, that just came out at the beginning of this month. There's some really nice lesson plans and examples in there. And what I did is I took a little bit of a screenshot of one of the SEL Day one of the pages on the website. But there's SEL Day toolkits that help, it's a little bit late for letters to the editors or blog posts, but not necessarily, but also lots of kind of ideas for SEL Day activities, engaging students and families. And I think one of the big pluses for SEL Day is that it's a wonderful way of engaging families and bringing them into, and inviting them into all the wonderful things that are going on in schools. And, it's interesting that, SEL Day, SEL, not SEL Day, SEL has been linked to, critical race theory by a small group, not so much in New Jersey, but in other places. And this is a wonderful way of really sharing what SEL is. And we just, we all know that it's kindness, it's gratitude, it's those things that all parents agree on. So it's a great opportunity just to get out the good word. So we really encourage everyone just to engage the families, because the families would love to hear about all this great stuff going on in the schools. Also, it's really important that you actually sign up for SEL Day if you haven't yet. And the sign up is on selday.org. And that way, then it's easier for us to retweet your posts, which is, and again, the whole idea is that we get hashtag SEL Day trending globally on March 11th. And the way that we do that is Jennifer and Emily, they've got a wonderful plan on how we can amplify all of your messages. And we work closely with the DOE as well. And we're going to have all of our partners, everyone's going to be trying to retweet and share the great artifacts that you're all creating. But it makes it a lot easier for us if you actually sign up for SEL Day. So that's on the selday.org site, which is where there's lots of, tools and tips and toolkits and ideas and everything else. So what you kind of need to do, it's not very hard, sign up, decide what you're going to do for SEL Day, and then create the artifact. So whether it's a recording or a video or a photograph, it really doesn't, whatever suits your artifact or your activity the best is, just use whatever's great. And then plan on sharing that on social media. And Jennifer, in a quick minute, will just give us some tips and hints about how to do that on social media. But I'll give a hint as well. Hashtag SEL Day is what's important. And then we'd love it if you could tag SEL4NJ, because then again, it makes us easier for us to retweet. So Jennifer, you were saying earlier that, like people can schedule these things, right?
So in case you guys are very busy, or if you're going to forget to post on SEL Day, which is March 11th, you guys can schedule your post beforehand. So let's say you're posting on Twitter and you want to post a photo or a video. Twitter and also Facebook allows you to schedule your post ahead of time. So you could schedule it for Friday, March 11th and post it anytime. Just make sure, like Liz has said, just a big emphasis, because like we want SEL Day to be trending worldwide. So make sure to use the hashtag SEL Day. And if you can, just tag us at SEL4NJ. It's the same handle and username for all platforms. We have Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Be sure to tag us. That way that me and Emily on the day of, we can retweet, repost, and like your video and your photo. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and also we've been putting out, Emily and Jennifer, and Emily's been putting together kind of SEL ideas and lesson plans, and those have been coming out quite regularly through SEL4NJ, the newsletters. But in case those have been lost in inboxes, which we totally understand, tomorrow/Monday, we'll be putting out kind of a conglomeration of all of those. So look out for in your inbox, and we have your emails because you registered for this. We can send it directly to you as a follow-up as well. But there's just a whole list of ideas as well. And we'll try, if we have time, we'll try to include some of these wonderful ideas that came up today as well, because these really were just really, really good ideas you guys have come up with. So with that said, just sign up, and also feel free to email your artifact to us, because we love to keep them in our files. And we've had 2 articles in NJ in the NJEA review highlighting great stuff. So it helps us know what you're all doing. If you just send us an email with what you're doing, that's just really helpful. And I think that's just about it. So I'm going to stop sharing and just thank you all for your time. And, we're just all so grateful to all of you for making the time today, but also for all you do for your students and for your colleagues and for your families. And it's just wonderful. You're all going to be participating in SEL Day. So please reach out with, any questions. If you just need any help or support, just let us know. And we'll share that. So just invite you to finish today thinking about something that you're looking forward to or something you're grateful for, because it's a nice way to end the day and to end a gathering. So can't wait to see your artifacts. So on SEL Day.
Liz, did you say that you're going to email us the recording?
Yes.
Oh, great. Thanks.
I also just want to add, if you haven't already, definitely follow our social media platforms that we put out a lot of information and resources on, and just a lot of information on those platforms. So we have Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, and all those platforms we're just posting regularly of SEL Day materials and content.
Yeah. So, oh, and there are some SEL Day activities. The DOE is having an interesting video webinar on the day before SEL Day. And on the SELday.org website, there's a list of other really interesting like webinars, discussions, panels, all about SEL Day. And one that you might want to think about sharing with your parent community is there's going to be a 4-hour panel. Now, nobody has to watch all 4 hours of it, but of parents who are also really well versed in SEL. And it's intended to be parent to parent. So talking to parents about what SEL, the impact has had on their own children, but also these are people who know, a lot about it anyway. So I think it's going to be really interesting. It's put together by our colleagues and friends in California from SEL for California. So we'll be sending those links as well. We'll be sending a whole thing full of just SEL Day things, but that information already is on the SEL Day for SELday.org website. So lots of resources out there. All right, we are at 5 o'clock, everybody. It's time to call it a day. So have a lovely evening, and thank you all.
Thanks.